January is over, and here are the best 3 movies of the month. Not going to waste your time here. January was not a great month for movies. So these 3 movies that are the best of January, probably not making the end of the year lists, but it is the best that came out this month. I'm sure there are other good movies that came out in January. We just didn't watch them. I watched a lot of good movies that didn't come out in January, like All the President's Men and White Noise, but they didn't come out in January, so they don't make the list. First is a movie I didn't like, but Zach did, and that's Megan. Take it away, Zach.
That was sold on the first 5 minutes because we right off the bat, it's like dumb comedy, which is right up my alley, and then it turns into this, as you said already, a weirdly acted, it's like Aliens wrote a car crash scene, and I was like, okay, this is bizarre. Let's go. And then it just kind of goes down. It gets kind of boring, sort of. It's pretty good. Once it gets to the end, it's just you got to slog through that also. But I personally think that especially the beginning and then the last 20 so minutes are worth watching. It's also my standards are very low because it's January. It is January. The first movie of the year, just the dumping ground wasteland of trash movies.
Yes.
And this one's pretty okay.
How many big whoops out of 10 would you give this movie?
Big whoop. I might have to change my Letterboxd review because I did it last night. Probably 6. Whereas it's mainly I completely forgot that there's horrible things that this woman did. And she's fine. She gets out of it. Yeah. And I'm like, no, that bugs me. But it's fun for the first 5 minutes and the last 20. Great streaming movie. I'm probably gonna forget about it in 2 weeks.
I'm ready to forget about it. Next, another movie that Zach liked is Missing. Take it away again, Zach.
Storm Reed's mother goes missing, and she has to find her within the confines of her own home, sort of. And obviously they shot it during COVID, which is no problem because it's usually just one actor on a laptop screen. And it's weird that we're used to seeing that, not only in movies, but in real life too. We work for a news station and we're used to seeing Zoom interviews now. And this is basically that, but in a movie. Pretty standard thriller, lots of twists, almost too many twists. But, if you're into twists, there's a lot of twist. And I will say, the theater during one of the twists near the end got a lot of reactions. I was like, good for you guys. Because the downside of the whole movie taking place on a screen is there's this very dramatic and climactic scene that is hard to see because it's being shot from their laptop screen and then they zoomed in from that. So it's really, really grainy and ugly looking. And, I think that's a very interesting choice to where the whole movie led up to this one part and you can't see it very well. Not because it's not shot well, but because it's on a laptop screen in the dark. Bold choice. It worked. Out of 10 apps that I have no idea the name of, because I learned a lot in this movie, 7 apps that I don't know the name of out of 10. I think one of them was Task Finder. I have no idea if that's real or not. Actually, is Task Finder real? This is going to be stupid if it is. I just looked it up. TaskRabbit is a real app. I really did not know. This is a very good ad for TaskRabbit, this whole movie.
In another movie, which I saw, Infinity Pool. Take it away. Alternate version of me. The plot of Infinity Pool. If you've not watched anything, if you've not watched the trailers like me, I didn't watch any of that. James and Em, played by Alexander Skarsgård and Cleopatra Coleman, they're a couple, they're married, and they go on this retreat. James is a writer, and he's got writer's block, hasn't written anything for 6 years, and it's kind of alluded to that no one really bought his book. And then we find out a little bit later, not too far into the movie, that Em is actually very rich, and James is just along for the ride, basically. And they meet Mia Goth and her husband. She's an actor. He's some architect dude, and they're at a resort, and it's hinted at, like, don't go out. The locals are crazy. They're unhinged. They're heathens, and they say stuff like that. But they go out anyways. They go to the beach. They have some fun. Some things happen, and then James and Em are dealt with a very horrific event, and then things just spiral from there. There's a lot of sci-fi. There's a lot of class satire, which is so big right now. And, it's about rich versus poor, privileged versus not privileged, all this type of stuff. The sci-fi elements really, really crazy and good. Going into the movie with the Cronenberg name, you're expecting something. And what I got was more ethereal than like body horror. It was definitely this is straight up a satire. Like, it is not funny satire, it is horror satire, if that makes sense. What Alexander Skarsgård goes through in this movie is quite interesting. And because he's juxtaposed, like, he has been, he has gone into the rich lifestyle. So while he may not be rich, he is definitely this like unwilling participant in the decadent lifestyle of the rich. Because a lot of the ways it's a commentary about how, like, sometimes the rich are so rich they can do anything and we wouldn't even know. And that's partially true, but obviously this takes it a step further. It's a movie, obviously, and it's going to tell a fictional tale. And so the sci-fi element mixed with the class warfare type stuff makes it a really interesting watch. It does take its time to get to these points, and there is some body horror for sure. But I will say this movie is ran by Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård. I've not watched Pearl and X, but Mia Goth in this movie is unhinged in all the best of ways. Her acting is crazy. Her character is crazy. Just the full-on, just like insanity. And then Alexander Skarsgård's character just goes through so much. It's about him running away from things, like running away from he's not a good writer, running away from, he's sort of married into money. He's running away from a lot of things in this movie, and he's forced to confront that in this movie, while at the same time dealing with depravity and decadence and just the horrific nature of this group of rich people that he's met while he's on this retreat. It is a wild ride, and it's not one that I recommend to a lot of people. It's rated R. It is, if you have photosensitivity, if you're sensitive to that stuff, don't go to this. There are a lot of flashing lights and images and stuff. But if you really like a trippy movie where just like crazy stuff is happening and it's compounding on top of each other, and if you've seen the trailers and you're hyped, I'll say it probably lives up to the trailers, but it's not as crazy as you think it is. It is not as inaccessible as, say, a Videodrome, which I love, but it is not for everybody. This definitely feels more like a Cronenberg movie that's for the horror fans and the Mia Goth fans and the Skarsgård fans. This is the most I've ever seen Stellan Skarsgård inside of Alexander Skarsgård. I know they're dad and son, but this movie, just the way he shot in it, you could just see his dad in it. And I feel like he was like, I don't know if he was trying to emulate his dad's voice a few times, but he definitely sounded like his dad a lot more in this one. Like, I didn't notice that in The Northman, but in this, I definitely did. And again, Mia Goth. Just, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10 whirlpools. There's no whirlpool in this movie. Infinity pool, whirlpool, whatever. Washing machine, who knows? Anyways, I thought it was really fun. Could have been better. I was expecting more, but I didn't get that. But what I got was fun. You get to see Alexander Skarsgård as acting like a dog. So at the end of the day, I think if you really like horror movies, you should probably go watch this. If you really like a mind-bending horror movie, you should definitely go watch this. If you don't like any of that, If you don't like debauchery, if you don't like a lot of sex in your movies, if you don't like a lot of yelling, if you don't like class warfare movies, just don't go watch this one. But if you like The Menu, if you like Triangle of Sadness, I think you'll dig this. And that's it. Thanks for joining. See you in February.